What's up, everybody? Well, it's Monday, June 22nd. We are almost at the end of June, which is crazy and also hard to believe because June has gone by in a flash. I want to do a few short announcements, but in the meantime, I want you to comment in the chat. If you are in our Time to Shine group and you've made progress towards one of the tiered prizes, I want you to drop in the chat. Which one have you accomplished, or how much closer have you gotten? Or if you're not in Time to Shine, or you just want to celebrate something good that happened in your business in this past week, please put it in the chat. Let's celebrate and recognize what's going on in your business, everything big and small. It's so important that while, yes, we're working towards rank goals and Success Club goals and all of those things, it's also important to celebrate every small step along the way. So every conversation had, every milestone reached with a client, just really taking that time to celebrate. So drop them in the chat. I want to see them. All right, so I only have two real announcements. Number one, if you are not, you should have your phone timer set 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, which is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I did my math right, for Salted Caramel Shakeology launch tomorrow. The website has a history of being a little tad slow right as the flavor launches, so just be patient. Tell your customers you're going to get their links as soon as the site loads, but don't wait to get yours or your customers, just because sometimes, like when we first launched pumpkin spice, it sold out in hours. So don't know if salted caramel will do the same, but just be mentally prepared. Tomorrow, it's a big day. Get it for yourself. Try it. Buy a box to send as samples to people, use for giveaways. It's a great opportunity. The second thing is we are now in the heat of the MBF slash MBFA launch. That is just weeks away, with the coach sign up window on July 7th. If you have not taken the time to go watch the video in the Beachbody Champions page, please make sure to do that because that's going to go over all of the information on packages and questions. And you guys, I cannot even stress to you how incredible it is that they are gifting 2B Mindset and Ultimate Portion Fix in the Challenge Pack and Completion Pack options. That's a $250 value for free with the Challenge and Completion Packs. Like that, we should be promoting the heck out of that. Like that is the biggest savings. And for a lot of my customers who already had Beachbody On Demand but couldn't afford to purchase 2B Mindset initially, that's a huge selling point for them to be able to get MBF with the Completion Pack because they get 2B Mindset. So make sure you're aware of everything that's going on with the MBF launch. Make sure you know what your game plan and your schedule is for your groups and the timeline of your promoting, and just be in it with launches. One of the biggest things you can do is shoot yourself in the foot with launches because it's tools provided to you by Beachbody to help your business grow. And you do not want to miss out on that. So my team, I did a video on our team page. Y'all can go watch that. All right, so we're going to talk tonight. That's all I had. Let me see what these, I saw a couple little things in the chat. What are we celebrating? Kaylee got tier 1 and tier 2. Brianna's closer to tier 1 and being more consistent, which is amazing. Good job, ladies. That is awesome. I know we have some others who have already accomplished some things, but they're just being shy. Okay, so we are going to talk tonight about how to invite without selling. So I wish I had $1 for every time I had a coach who told me, but I don't want to be a salesperson. I'm not good at it. Well, I'm going to hopefully give you some practical tips on how to invite without feeling like a salesperson or without selling. Okay. All right, now you have to bear with me because I couldn't get my printer to print and my notes are on a separate computer above me. But okay, so these quotes are so powerful when it comes to your business and how you can promote and build relationships. So it says, the toughest thing about the power of trust is that it's very difficult to build and very easy to destroy. The essence of trust building is to emphasize the similarities between you and the customer. Here's the deal. When you understand this, you're going to understand how to invite. Trust in this business is absolutely everything. The goal is not to cast a wide net onto social media and expect a huge outpouring of people who are just going to jump into your challenge groups. The goal is to connect to people that are just like you. And you're going to gain their trust by, number one, consistently being proof that the products work. Number two, consistently emphasizing the similarities between you and your potential customers. So think about that. As you're posting and sharing, your goal is to simply emphasize how similar you are to those that you want to serve. That's easy because you know you best. So I want you to ask yourself, who were you before your Beachbody story? And I realize that that's a term that we use quite a bit in the coaching network. Know your story, tell your story, share your story. And we talk about that a lot, but it is so, if you don't know who you are in Beachbody and who your story was prior to Beachbody, you're going to have a really hard time convincing someone that what you're offering to them is going to change their life, because you don't know your own story well enough. So who were you before you started Beachbody? The chances are high that that is the same person who is looking for the same products, tools, support, and community that you were. And that's how you're going to attract those people to you. So what I want you to do is you're going to define who you are and who you are wanting to serve. So that begins with this question. Do you even know who you are? I want you to go through this exercise. Maybe take a picture of this, and after we get off the call, you're going to go through this exercise. But go through this exercise of figuring out you, because this is the person that you're going to help. It's not rocket science. No one knows you better than you do. But when I finally gave into this concept, my business changed, specifically after I had my second son. I kind of was doing a good job prior to having my son, Henry. He's 2.5 now. But when I was pregnant and right after I had him, I got laser focused on who I wanted to help. I wanted to help mamas who struggle with postpartum depression. I wanted to help C-section mamas who believe that they could never have a six-pack and that their stomach was ugly. I wanted to help people who struggle with emotional eating and ate in private in the closet. I wanted to help people that struggled with going through the drive-thru and hitting the easy button. Like, I knew who my people were and who I was wanting to attract. So in essence, these questions are going to help you develop the many stories that you're going to tell to attract people to you. Remember that opening up about where you came from and how you have improved your life through Beachbody is what will tug at the emotional heartstrings of your audience. So in this scenario, you're not selling anything. You are connecting your story to a person and empathizing in a way that's going to bring them into your culture, into our community, and change their life. So screenshot this, do this activity later, because you're going to be able to figure out who it is you're talking to through this. So don't ever forget that people don't care what you do, they care why you do it. So they don't give a crap that you work, no offense, love you, mean it. They don't give a crap that you drink a shake every day. They don't give a crap that you work out every day. They want to know why. Why are you choosing MBF as your next program? Why did Morning Meltdown 100 change your life? Not what, but why. That's the big difference. This is an emotionally based purchasing business. So don't ever stop sharing those stories. And this is an exercise to get you to that point. Now, once you know who you're serving and who you want to attract, it's time to become a client magnet. So this is basically the framework that will help you share more than just sweaty selfies and that picture of you with Shakeology, because I hate to break it to you, sharing just a sweaty selfie and a picture with your shake is not going to work, because there's nothing emotional behind it. It's not going to work in the long term, at least. So, okay, consider this. Is it even logical that taking a post-workout selfie with a picture of a shake would make you money? Think about that. What have you done for anybody by snapping a picture and putting it on social media? How have you served someone by doing that? You need to add value to your audience by connecting with them on that real and personal level. So how do you do that? You're going to know your client's pain points. If you go back up to this exercise, it's going to reveal some of that. So you're going to know your client's pain points. Do they have, before you started Beachbody, were you low energy? Did you have low self-esteem? Were you overweight? Overwhelmed? Did you have bad habits? Were you a picky eater? What were you like prior to Beachbody? What were your pain points? So I can think of some of mine. I would cry every time I went into a dressing room. I would always buy baggy clothes because I did not want anything to show my stomach bulge. I was so ashamed of my body that I would go through Biscuitville on the way to work and eat my feelings because obviously that's going to make it better. So I know my pain points, and that is also going to be your client's pain points. Then you're going to begin relating to those pain points. So use phrases in your post like, I know because that was me. Or I understand how that feels because before Beachbody, that's exactly how I felt. Or before my team, before my coaching business, before my journey. I can totally relate because. And then you're going to wrap it with a pretty bow and use, how do you help them solve that problem? Well, this is easy because you've already done that. You've been there, done that. You're working through that. So what program, what decision, what mindset was it that helped you overcome that specific pain point? Share how you did that. So it's a formula. It's knowing that pain point, taking that pain point, relating it to yourself, showing how you solve that problem. And then from that point, you're relating that story and telling them how they're going to feel once that problem is solved. You're painting that picture. When they overcome that pain point, how is it going to make them feel? Accomplished, energetic, loss of weight, powerful, empowered, beautiful, alive. Be descriptive of those feelings that you have, because helping them believe that they can feel that way too. So that's kind of step 2, is you're going to become a client magnet. I also want you to think about, are you attractive? Guys, your social media is the business storefront, and it makes me bananas when I see coaches who only show up on their who tell me they want to build a big business and then only show up on their social media 3 times a week. And I want to jump out of a window, because you're as a business owner, if you are not consistently sharing on social media, if you owned a brick and mortar business, would you come in when it's convenient? Would you go in? Would you clock in and open the doors to your business after you've had a good night's sleep, or only when you've had a workout, or only when this scenario in your life, all the stars are aligned and you're ready and you're motivated and you have all this inspiration to post? No, a business owner posts every single day, and through doing that, you're going to figure out what things about you makes you attractive on your social media. So we talk about that phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? I don't know if you've heard that, but truly, when someone goes on your social media, are they going to be drawn by your joy and your contagious spirit and your determination and grit through hard things? Or are they going to be repelled from your page because you're constantly complaining, or you're frustrated, or you're sharing articles about recent world events and being negative and causing drama? Like, if they go to your page, what is it that's going to make them attracted to your social media? Are you 100% invested in a growth plan? The more you grow mentally, the more people you will attract that want to get on your level. If you're not attracting business builders and you're not bringing people into your team, it's because you're not putting out anything that's going to attract people to you. When you start sharing in a leadership perspective, from a leadership role, you're invested in your growth. On a personal level, you're doing the heart work through personal development, you're doing the mind work through personal development, and you're sharing that process. That's going to attract people to you. And friends, I'm going to tell you, I'm not perfect. Some of you follow me and some of you don't. You have noted that my health crashed and burned last year in a huge flame of fire, and I've been recovering ever since, and my body gained 25 pounds. Some of that was my fault, emotional eating, hello, and then some of that was my actual new diagnosis. And I have shared every second of that journey in a way that showed people that they can be an overcomer. I was honest, like, guys, this sucks. I don't feel great. I'm struggling, but here's what I'm doing to fix it. Here's how I'm not living in that shame. Here is how I am turning this into a transformation from the inside out. I am sincere in that approach, and I'm not phony. Do people genuinely feel like that you have their best interests? Or if they go on your social media, does it look and feel like you are looking for a sale? I truly believe when I get zero traction on my posts that are stating facts. When I talk about a program, like, honestly, I could post 20 things about MBF launch and nobody could care at all. But if I go in and I talk about how my life has been transformed, I'm going to have so much more traction from my people, because that's what they want to learn about, because they see hope through me, through that sincere, non-phony approach. Are you selling or sharing? And is there consistency in your imagery, branding, content? I'm not going to go into all of that because Morgan already did that on our call 2 weeks ago or last week. But one of the things I will say is your image scroll stoppers? I know this picture is probably a little bit funny, but you know what it did do? It got people to stop their scroll, and they empathized with the fact that I hate spinach. You know how many spinach lovers or spinach haters I found through this picture? I found my besties because they also don't like spinach. Is it a little out there? Yes. Do you have to do this? No. But the image was scroll stopping, and that is important for your social media. If you're taking a selfie, look to a light source, get in front of a window, clear picture quality, add a filter or a preset if you need one. Sparingly use fonts and words. Please, God, don't ever use a stock image if you can help it. And try to avoid collages. Nobody usually cares about collages. So that's kind of your crash course in how to create a scroll stopping social media. Think about this: when you're adding people to your social media account, you're requesting friends and trying to get a larger social media gathering or following, and the first thing they're going to do is go to your page. When I get a friend request, what do? I go to their page, I see if they're selling something, and if they are they sucking at it, or are they doing a good job? Because if they're just plastering sales all over their social media, I delete that friend request. I'm like, girl, bye. I don't have time for you in my newsfeed. If they're sharing their story and I am drawn by what they say, by the presentation of their social media, I will approve them solely based on that. Remember, people are going to decide whether they want to follow you in 2 scrolls of your social media. So that is so important. Okay, moving on. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. We talked about that. Okay, keep going. All right, so our content on social media. And these are ways, while maybe you're sitting here thinking, Rachel, this doesn't feel like inviting. I'm getting to that part. Hang with me. Hang tight. We're going to talk about that. But this is the framework for successful inviting behind the scenes that actually doesn't feel salesy. So content. You understand how to become a client magnet. We talked about who and why you're attracting people to your page, using bold imagery to paint the picture of your message. Now it's time to craft what you're going to say. The biggest thing that I've made and done and applied in my business is an opening sentence that grabs people in. They're going to decide if they're going to read your post within the first 2 to 3 sentences of what you're saying. And that opener is the first line to telling your story and getting people intrigued about what you're going to share. So engaging with them early helps them stay till the end. So think of opening with a bang. I actually may have a resource for this. I'll try to find and post in our group, which is all sentence starters. Basically, for this one, I said, where do you find motivation? How many times have y'all had people tell you, I have no motivation? Instantly, if somebody reads, where do you find motivation? They're going to stop and read what I have to say. Or what if you said, I remember bawling my eyes out and feeling like a failure? You start with an opening sentence like that, someone's going to immediately pause and say, what is she talking about? what on earth does she have to say? For me, in my post, if I space my paragraphs to where I'm not doing one big run-on post, it helps people kind of see the story unfolding. I also use proper grammar. I know that may seem a little far-fetched, but proper grammar goes a long way. Ideally don't overuse emojis unless it's appropriate, or if that's your brain and that's your thing, then emoji away. But for me, it kind of clutters up what I'm trying to say. In your framework of your content, here's how you're going to create that post. Part 1, you're going to describe the pain point. Part 2, you're relating to that pain point. Part 3, you're describing the solution to that pain point. And then part 4 is you're telling your audience how they will feel when they overcome the pain point. And then I would add on the end that you would invite them to be part of what you're doing. A lot of times on my posts will say, hey, my June boot camp is still enrolling. Message me if you want details. We talk about this all the time in my boot camps. So you're tapping into your emotions and the why, not the what of what you're offering. All right. So external versus internal. So one of the things that I see within my organization is that when we become coaches, our knee-jerk reaction is to share the what of what we're selling. You proceed to post your Shakeology bag with the caption, look what came in the mail today. I'm so excited to change my life. I'm going to change yours. Go to my website, stopdoingthis.com. Right? But seriously, if you were to take a look at my social media skills 4 years ago, you would die. You would cringe. You would be like, how did this girl even come home and work full time? Because who actually bought from her, sharing her Shakeology cups? You can build a successful business through trials and failure, but make the shift from external sharing to internal sharing. And if you understand that magnet framework, you already understand this concept. But let's talk about it a little bit more with some examples. So take a look at these 2 images. Under the external side, you're going to see 2 stock images with absolutely no why in the caption. It's all what? It's all data. It's just facts. There's no emotional connection, no relatability. This is going to lead to little or no interaction and little to no results. So look under the internal side here. Hopefully y'all can see it. You'll see the images of this coach named Liz with a well thought out caption where she connected to her audience. She drew them in and she helped them visualize how they would feel if they said yes to. If you feel this is repetitive, well, it is. Here's the thing. If you want to earn an income, you got to work for it. And cutting corners in your social media will only place you in the category of other network marketers that people don't like. And trust me, that's a place you don't want to be. Right now, more than ever, so many people have jumped on the network marketing train because of COVID, and you've got to stand out. And you're placing time and energy into what your social media says and how it is perceived and what your message is. You need to stand out so that your story sets you apart from any other coach out there, and your story sets you apart from any other multi-level marketing. So get the distinguish between external versus internal. So you're probably thinking, hey, does this mean that I don't have to invite anymore if I kick butt in my social media and I'm crushing it and I don't have to send a message anymore? That's what Rachel's telling me, right? Well, no, I'm very sorry. That's not, in fact, what I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you, though, your social media shift is going to transform your inviting behind the scenes. So inviting is still very much a vital behavior. And you cannot solely rely on your social media, although it's the foundation for successful inviting. You need to invite like a boss, but now you will have so much more effective conversations because your social media game is on point. You know who you want to serve. So when you send someone an invite, they get your message, they go to your social media, they're like, oh my gosh, that last post that Rachel just shared or that last post that Holly just shared, that's me. And here she is messaging me. This is a sign. Your conversations are going to be so much more fruitful. So, but what I will say is this. I struggle with cold inviting. I don't like doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't encourage my team to do it. I like to build relationships, but I like to do so in a way that's authentic to me. So if I have to send a message and it's someone I've not connected with as much before as I wanted, I will voice memo it. Okay. I'll pick up my phone, send them a message. They can hear my excitement. They connect with my story, and it shifts that completely. So, what I mean by cold inviting, for those of you who are new, is inviting a total stranger to get in shape in your group without any prior context or connection. As new coaches, if you're new on here, you should already have a warm market that knows you. So if you're sending a message and haven't talked to them in a few months, that's your warm market. They already know your personality and you're a person of character. I'm talking about random strangers that you have connected on social media with. It's going to be hard to connect with them without having invested in that relationship ahead of time. So common ground is key for me in this. It's not complicated, and it's honestly pretty simple. Making sure that you have liked their post, commented on a post, and followed them on Instagram, and that they are doing the same on your social media is basically, in my opinion, a green light, your permission to begin opening the door to an invite with them. Your conversation is not there to try to sell them something, but your conversation is there to figure out leverage. And that sounds strong, but leverage provides you a way to connect with them. If you know their pain point, regardless of whether you approach someone or they approached you, my priority is to get to understand their pain point. It's getting to know their story. So if someone comes to me after posting my call to action, I'm going to say this first question. Hi, Susan, what made you feel compelled to reach out? I'm excited to hear your story. So if someone's initiating conversation with you and they want to know what you're doing, that's a really great opener. So, hi, Susan, what made you feel compelled to reach out? I'm excited to hear your story. You're opening the door to learning what their pain point is. This simple question allows them the permission to share why they feel they need our groups or products. And that response ultimately gives me leverage. I can remind them of that pain point throughout the process because I have felt that too. So I am proactively inviting behind the scenes and opening those doors of conversation. So use simple questions that don't put people on the defensive while you're establishing a connection. So things like, have you ever considered doing this? Are you a coach too? I love that one because a lot of times people that I see on my dream team, I'll ask them, girl, are you already a coach? And they're like, oh, you're so sweet. No, I'm not, but I'm so flattered that you think that. You can also ask them, are you on a fitness journey too? Those are just some simple questions that is a piece of proactively inviting. It's not a script. It's just opening the door to conversation, which will organically lead to inviting them. So those are, so here's a couple examples. That was what I was just sharing. I didn't share my slides. So my thing about inviting without selling, my coaches who struggle the most are the ones who are not consistent on social media and who don't know who they're talking to and why. When they get clear on that and they get consistent on that, when they invite behind the scenes, they see more productive conversations. I still actively invite. I still have a daily minimum that I want to connect with people, whether I have to do that in a quote unquote cold message voice memo, or whether it's people that I've been organically connecting with for months. I know that I need to meet that. But by layering the foundation of making sure your story is being heard, then your invites behind the scenes are going to be more productive. So don't just listen to this today. I want you to actually apply it in your business when we get off this call. So I'm going to stop screen sharing and answer any questions. I would love specifically, hold on, what did she say? Specifically to hear, what do y'all struggle with inviting? Will you please put that in the comments so that we can talk? I want to continue the conversation about inviting. Or leaders, if y'all have things that your coaches struggle with and you want to unmute yourself and talk about it, that'd be great. So Brooke says, go look at, oh yeah, those are great tips. She says, as she's sharing all these things, go look at your feed and evaluate yourself on the things she's sharing. The truth is we all have improvements to make. So who has an invite thing that they struggle with? Who struggles with just pulling the trigger on invites? Who struggles with like knowing what to say? Okay. Yes, sort of. All right. If you, both of those. Okay. Yes and yes. All right. For me, when I am in this headspace, who does personal development before they do inviting? Okay, that should have every single one of you and your hands raised. That is the mindset shift. You have to go into your conversations with confidence because you filled your cup up. You're ready to go conquer the world. If you're already in a headspace where like, I don't know if I'm, what if they say no? You're going to take that away from yourself. So start with PD. And if you don't know what to say, message your team chat, ask what everybody's using for invites. And if you're struggling to just pull the Band-Aid off of inviting, do it first thing in the morning. It's your non-negotiable, just like your workout. Get it in 3 invites right first thing of the day, and boom, you've already started that. Jordan says, after they say that they are interested, the follow through to the close. Jordan, will you expand on that? How far into the conversation do you get? Where is the pitfall, or do they just start ghosting you?
I think it varies per person.
Okay.
But I think it's the wording from the initial, from your follow-up all the way through. It can go south real quick.
Do you feel like there's too much information shared with them, or they just get scared and run off?
So there for a while, like I've seen a couple different things of tell me what's been a struggle for you the most, or what's worked and what's not. That's like a 75% ghost method.
Okay. So that's not a good strategy for you then. We got to find another. Have you done what have you tried in the past that did or didn't work? How does that go for you? Does that work out well?
I think it just depends on the person.
So I would say add in, if you add this question in, if you knew you couldn't fail, where would you want to be in 3 months? And see what they say. Because that's 3 months, they could lose 20, 25 pounds. They're going to see a substantial amount of success. What do they want to accomplish in 3 months? And you're going to start to be able to guide that conversation a little bit more. Every time I respond to a message, I connect it back to my story. So if they share something with me, I just struggle so bad with late night eating, I tie it back to myself and I say, girl, when I started this health and fitness journey, I could eat the whole kitchen at 9 o'clock at night. I know what you feel. If there's hope for me, there's hope for you. And then you continue the conversation and ask them another question. Thank you for sharing that, Jordan. But let me go back to what you said. So from start to follow up. For me, it's the number of follow-ups, not necessarily what I say. So I usually lead with a voice memo, and I usually lead from the heart. And it's girl, I was thinking about you today. I am so excited to love on you and support you in your journey. What questions did you have about the information that I sent? And then if they ignore, again, 3 days later, hey girl, are my voice memos coming through? Because Instagram is so quirky. Sometimes I don't know if they come through or not. Are you getting these? Put it on Instagram. Make it act like it's Instagram's fault. And then a week later, hey girl, it seems like this timing just isn't right for you. I just want you to know that I'm always here to support you. I'll touch base down the road when the timing is better. So you're letting them know you're going to follow up with them. You're letting them know that they're not ready. And you're basically giving yourself permission to touch base in a month. So that's kind of the system that I use. Linda says, mine is being consistent with posting. So for those that struggle with consistency, you got to figure out what works for you. Is it a visual? Some people are very visual, like planners, checklists, kind of things. If that's you plaster that checklist or that visual on your bathroom mirror or on your fridge or wherever you're going to see it, to where that you know that you need to complete XYZ that day. I also would attack that in personal development. Reading books like The Slight Edge would be a good one. That might be really good for those of you that struggle with consistency. Ashley says, putting the follow-up information together that is appropriate for the person is sometimes an issue for me. Sharing a program that could potentially work best is also a challenge. Ashley, I'm going to challenge you to see if you can get your prospects on the phone. I feel like if you could talk to them, I've never not closed a phone conversation. If you can ask them, Kate, can you give me 15 minutes of your time tonight? I'd love to learn more about your story and how I can help you. See if that would help that transition of not knowing what to recommend, because you can ask them in a quick scenario conversation, what is or isn't working, and get to know them a little better. So that's just an idea. I love phone conversations, but they sometimes take a little while. Yeah, no problem. Any other leaders have anything they want to say, or anybody else struggle with not inviting and something they want to ask, or any question in general? Okay, so tonight you're going to go to your social media. You're going to audit it. Okay, you're going to do in 5 scrolls of your social media, what does your social media say about you? And if you're not happy with those results, do not beat yourself up. You get to start tonight. It's an opportunity, clean slate. From this point on, the rest of June and July, you are going to post every day, and you're going to get clear on your messaging. But what does your social media say about your business? What can you tweak and change? I'll tell you mine. I recently was doing this on my social media. I didn't feel like I was getting a lot of traction. I was having conversations, but my turnover was not as good. I was struggling to get people to say yes. People were ignoring me left and right. Hello, amen, if anybody has felt that before. But I was like, why am I not getting, especially when it came to coaching, why am I not getting any traction? And I realized I was not talking about coaching nearly enough. I was not sharing what I was doing as a coach. I wasn't sharing when I was working. And it was honestly, I was so busy when I got to doing it, but you've got to share that. Shift has helped me sign 3 business builders in the last 30 days. And so that's an important thing to look at when you're looking at your social media. Misty says, I struggle with posting on Facebook regularly, but in order to be successful, I know I'm going to have to start. Does anyone use a posting service or app to pre-plan posts? I wouldn't recommend a third-party app because Facebook it won't let your stuff be seen. However, I do write posts out in my notes on my phone. And that way, I know Holly actually pre-plans all of her posts. She writes everything the day before or a few days before, because the day of, she's brain dead. She can't do it in the moment. So I would recommend writing them in a note and saving it. I'll go through that activity a few minutes ago of figuring out who you're talking to, what kind of things does that bring up, and then create some posts to have on hand on hard days where you just don't know what to say. I don't know where any of my other leaders are, so I don't know if they want to add anything else. All right. Y'all, this is awesome. I appreciate your engagement. I appreciate you commenting in the chat. So tonight you're going to go look at your social media, give it an audit. And I'm not telling you through this call that inviting it should not happen, that you should not be reaching out behind the scenes. What I am saying is that it's very important what your social media says about you, because that is your storefront. So take a look at that. Do some reflecting, fine tune, course correct if you need to, and celebrate. If you're crushing it, then let's celebrate. That's amazing. But we are at the end of June, and some of you, okay, question. How many of you are not at your Success Club goal for the month? How many? Okay, we got some hands. Thank you for your transparency. I have pulled Success Club out of my rear end a few hours before the clock struck midnight. And we have some other people on the team who have done the same. So you don't get to give up on Success Club because it's the 22nd of the month and you feel like you failed and you're not at your goal. You put your head down and you get to work, because the more people that you talk to, the more conversations you have, the more you leave with your story, the higher the chance that you're going to hit that goal. And if you end this month and you don't hit it, you will end the month proud that you did everything you could in the last 8 days of the month to crush it. So your challenge tonight is, if you're not where you want and you said June 1st, I'm going to be at SC5, and you're not there, you can do this. It's just a matter of taking the time to put some work in and really just putting your head down and getting going. So I love y'all. I think you're amazing. Hail Mary. That's right, Kaylee. Hail Mary. Oh, God. I've done that so many times. Hail Mary. This is Hail Mary week. We're going to do amazing things. Next week, our team call is at 8:30. We have another guest speaker, Miss Stephanie. She's in 7-star qual right now, maybe 6-star, 7-star qual. She was at 2020 Premier, and she's going to be talking to us about strategies on how to reach diamonds. So be here next week at 8:30. I love you guys, and recording will be posted so you can tag your teams in that as well. So see you same time next week. Go out. Hail Mary. You got this. Bye, guys.